Callum O'Keefe's winning time was 52.81. Let's wait for the others to pop up. Previous heat again, Callum O'Keefe from Lindisfarne College first, 52.81. Second was Sebastian Skelton from Scots College, 53.20. Third was Jordan Beach from Christchurch in 53.39. And fourth, Robert Unsworth, the local Otamoto College, 54 seconds flat. Big spread here, looks like William Lang from Roncalli College. Well out in the front from Sasha Tahi from Christchurch Boys High. And then William Cole from Roncalli College in lane 3 will be third. And lane 1, Thomas Gerwin on the inside will grab fourth. Okay, we're about to go between heats to a presentation for the senior boys multi-class discus, and the winner there, give me a moment to get to there, sorry. This is from the para section. So the winner is Ben Baines from Tyree College with a throw of 29.66. And the medals are being presented by Diane Roger. Result from that previous heat, William Lang was first from Roncalli College in 55.88. Second, Sasha Tahi from Christchurch Boys High School, 56.59. Third was William Cole from Roncalli College, 57.83. And fourth, Thomas Gowan from Wanganui High School in 59.28. An update from the Junior Girls Long Jump. We're now moving into the top 8, and currently in the lead with 5 metres 58 is Zayanne Smith from Mount Albert Grammar.
race on 5 metres 51 is Charlotte Goldsmith from St Cuthbert's.
You're away well here in lanes 5 and 7 are making their presence felt. Jesse Park from Alton Grammar School. Outside of Miller McElroy from Tokomairo High School.
Then in third place in the junior girls long jump is Jess Hendren from Rangiora High with 5 metres 26.
Lane 4, Harper Ubiga from Wellington College. So trying to run into the finish here, but we've got Miller McElroy from Tokomairo High School leading. Ahead of Harper Ubiga from Wellington College. The next medal ceremony will be in the Para Juniors, the Discus and multi-class. And Diane Roger is again going to do the presentation. The third place athlete is Zach Lappin from Rangiora High School, 31 metres 61. Second place, Nikau Pepe from Marlborough College, 35-33. And the winner representing Wellington College was Corin Hanning, the throw of 42-71. Okay, just a moment. Sorry, to replace result there from the previous heat. We had Miller McElroy was 55-29, second Harper Ubiga was 55-90, and third Jesse Park 56-41. And this next heat looks like lane 6. Lane 5 is Dylan McDowell from Mount Maunganui College, local boy. With a big lead here over lane 2, which is Joshua Allen from St Patrick's, so easing down there, Dylan McDowell. Okay, just for these medal ceremonies, we've got a hold up here while we're waiting for Riley Allen from Tauranga Special School to come down to get your discus medal. So perhaps if the caregivers there for Riley Allen could get him down to the medal tent, which is just past the finish line. And in the girls, we've got the first 2 of the junior girls there, but we're looking for Hene Sangster of Tauranga Special School also to please come there. So both in that Tauranga school to get to those athletes, Riley and Hene, down for the medal ceremony.
Well, kia ora, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. We've had a few changes in the program. As you can see, we hadn't finished up with the Javelin. We prematurely Forgot about that. We had the final, I think we've got the final 6 athletes left in. So there's Sola from Hutt Valley High. And just a heads up as well, and this is an important notice for anyone wanting to watch the track events this evening. The crucial change is that basically everything's sort of been shifted forwards 15 minutes. So for those who are wanting to watch the 3,000 metres and the other heats coming up tonight, that's going to be slightly early. So I think we said 6:10, so make that 5:55 instead. So good throw there by Toby Robb. Is that Toby? It's one of the Robs.
We'll go for the lane outside, lane 7, I think, from lanes 2 and 3.
It is Toby. A good old heave of the Javelin. This warm Tauranga afternoon, evening sun. So the forecast for the weekend's looking pretty good. Probably the only factor will be this westerly coming in. So 47 for Toby there. Now we know that Ethan Walker, the man on screen there, had the lead at 54 something. We're not sure if he's extended that. Now getting the crowd behind him. There's a good crowd over there supporting this final, the senior boys javelin. Here we go. Who we think is our competition leader. He's a powerful man. Ethan Walker comes up, throws a huge javelin. It's definitely another one over 50 metres. Had the look on his face, maybe lower 50s rather than high 50s.
So we're ready to go. In third place we have Hine Sangster from Tauranga School with a throw of 7 metres 30.
Here's a replay of that throw. You can see those crossover steps he takes. He's done this a fair few times, knows exactly where those feet need to go, knows how to keep that momentum. So there's a 54.21. That won't improve his 54.74 that he threw earlier in the afternoon.
And the winner from Carmel College was Shannon Murphy with a throw of 22.37.
And there we see some of the junior medalists claiming their medals.
Okay, the next presentation is for the boys discus in the junior II division, and the winner there is Riley Allen from Tauranga Special School with a throw of 3 metres 77.
So I believe that's one of our shot put para athletes. Successful day at the office already. Oh, Javelin, sorry.
Out in lane 7, Kamarani Cotterill from King's College was third in 56.09. And then Mitchell Taylor from Tauranga Boys College was fourth in 56.11.
So just confirmation from the producer that we're going to be back at about 5:45 to pick up coverage for the 3,000 metre races. So be sure to tune in then for an exciting evening of entertainment here at Tauranga, sunny Tauranga, for the New Zealand Secondary Schools Track and Field Champs. See you shortly.
Third place, Toby Robb, St Paul's Collegiate, 52-24.
Cool.
Okay, the next presentation is for boys junior shot put, and these two are being presented by Pete Fitzinger, CEO of Athletics New Zealand. In third place we have Leon Richard from Manarewa High School with a throw of 15.20. In second place, Andre Gunderson from Parapara Umu, formerly from Tauranga, 15.71. And in first place, Liam Pavia from New Plymouth, 16.17 metres. Just in case any of those athletes are not yet where they should be, the next race will be the final of the junior girls 3,000 metres. And then that will be followed by the senior girls 3,000 metres, which is going to go at 5:55. So those senior girls 3,000 metre runners, you should be reporting to the call tent right now. And then the two 400 metre races which are coming early, the senior girls 400 metres heats, they start at 10 minutes past 6, and then the senior boys will start at 6:30. So both those events are coming forward 30 minutes. So if your family, friends, team managers, fellow athletes, please make sure those athletes are aware that the program is coming forward. We will get home a little earlier tonight. So I see the junior girls 3,000 metre runners are assembling on the track there now. They are scheduled to go in about 9 minutes time. They may well sneak off early if they're all there. So the senior girls, you should be in the call room, ready to race at 5:55. Then the senior girls 400 metre heats, you will start at 6:10. So you have about 10 minutes or so before you need to be, 15 minutes. 5:45 you need to be in the call tent, and then the senior boys will race at 6:30. So you need to be in there by 6:05. You've got about 30 minutes from now, senior boys, to be in the call room for your 400 metre heats. Race will again run off an echelon start. We have a large field of 30 athletes in here. Of course, a number of these 3,000 metre runners are likely to also be entered for either the 1,500 metres or the road race, or other events as they tend to do. So by running these finals today, these girls will be able to run the road race on Sunday morning and then not have to line up again for finals later on. Very often we get a false start at a 3,000 metres, but we have. Some of them went off like they were doing at 200 metres. So it looks like third time lucky, we're underway. Toes on the line, it would have appeared at the start. Big Pierre will let them settle down a bit before we try to work out who to. I'll have to look over 2 pages of entries, that's going to be fun. From Mount Montgomery College. There's a little bit of jostling going on there. So we had Kennedy Taylor from Southland Girls and Bella Earl from Whangarei Girls were the first 2 athletes through there. It starts to spread out a little bit now. we're about to do a quick medal ceremony here. Well, not necessarily quick, we've got time. The senior boys Javelin. These medals will be presented by Raylene Bates, who's the New Zealand primary coordinator for the para section. Puts a lot of time into our para athletes. The third place athlete here is Toby Robb from St Paul's College, 52.24. Second is his brother, I guess, Campbell Robb from St Paul's College, 54.14. St Paul's College is in Hamilton. And the winner of the senior boys Javelin is Ethan Walker from Tyree College in 58.94. However, Renee Carey has taken up the lead again. From Kennedy Taylor. And Lulu Johnson from Mount Monadui. And the fourth place athlete is Bella Earl, who was up there in the leaders early on. And Madeline Sharp from the Christchurch Girls High is in fifth. So remember, this is a final, so it's all on. Those girls out front have got the pace on, and they have stretched the field right out. We've got some 200 metres or more covering the field now. So they'll come down here and have 3 laps to go. They are motoring along. No change in the order. We still have Carey leading from Taylor and Johnson. Things are starting to condense further back. Quite a pod developing there for the next 5 runners. Lulu Johnson is now coming to the lead as they're coming down with 2 laps to go. A little change in positions there. And Kennedy Taylor moves into second. And Renee Carey drops back to third. Zara Geddes from St Hilda's has moved into fourth, and she's trying to bridge that gap. think it may be Ava Gardner from Wellington Girls, a diminutive little figure running in 5th spot. Okay, we're coming down to hit the bell. These athletes still have 2 laps to go. The leaders we've got Kennedy Taylor on the outside, but picking back again on the inside. There's Lulu Johnson, so the better old Johnson put the foot down and gone away again now. From Renee Carey. Zara Geddes. And Ava Sutherland.
Would you like a sausage?
Poppy Ray McGregor is the girl coming 6th in the greens. The leaders at the 150 metre mark and they're closing up again. Looks like Kennedy Taylor from Southland. Couple of steps, she's not lying down, she's coming back. And Lulu Johnson rally again, she can. What a battle this is going to be. Great race. 3,000 metres, junior girls. Lulu Johnson from Mount Wanganui College will get here from Kennedy Taylor Southland girls. In 3rd place, she was up for the lead all the way with Renee Carey. Oh, a very close finish there at the end, and it was the Wellington girls athlete who squeezed in, with Ava Sutherland just ahead of Zara Geddes. Tag field 25 in the senior girls 3,000 metres final, and Abby Carver from New Plymouth is the one showing out in front.
Kia ora and welcome everyone back to the coverage of the New Zealand Secondary Schools Track and Field Champs here, where we have the 3,000 metres. We're into the first lap of the senior girls final. They're all in. No heats with this one, no prelims. We're straight in with a 3,000 metre final. And here we go. We've got a good, strong contingent of women lined up in this, as you can see, getting out to a nice, strong start as well. So I'll read through this list. It's a fairly long one, so hold on to your horses. Here we go. Abby Carver, Jessica Hughes, Penelope Salmon, Stephanie Walker, Sadie Weish, Amelia Live, Chloe Brown, Erin McKevitt, Saskia Knox, Anai Todd, Ella McDonald, Caitlin Bassett, Amelia Green, Sequoia Prentice, Jade Pellathorpe, Isabella Richardson, Hazel Cork, Tara Saki, Jemima Antoniazzi, Hugh Olivia, Emily Waters, Holly Harding, Bella Brown, Hannah Gapes, and Neve Mulai. So what a field we've got, as you can see, almost running three wide. We've gone straight into a final, which allows these ladies to focus on the other events that they've got this weekend. So I'm sure they won't be complaining about this. 25 women on the track, and there we've got the second, the chasing pack, who are all hunting after Abby Carver, who's got off to a nice strong start. She's decided, I'm going to lay it down these 7.5 laps and run nice and strong. So coming through in 2:48. So yeah, that's about 10:30 pace. So it's not electric pace, and I'm actually surprised this pack behind have let her have this lead. I'm sure they'll be keeping an eye on it, just make sure it doesn't grow too much.
I definitely think one of the things to consider as well, the Hayden, is that it's actually very, very windy. I've just been out on a little bit of a run myself. I probably didn't make the full 3Ks, but it's surprisingly windy, especially on that back straight. It's actually quite a large crosswind, which I think a lot of these girls will really be feeling. And it's a little bit unexpected. I didn't know then when I was out going for my little jog before. It was a little bit unexpected. But
it's kind of gusty, isn't it? like you have sort of still moments, then it cranks back up again.
As soon as you're out of that wind as well, it is an absolute scorcher.
And talking about cranking up, was that Isabella Richardson just closing the gap up. So now we have everyone together and getting a bit more strung out. So just an injection of the pace there to pull back Abby Carver into the pack. And we've got a long train of girls running around this track in the Tauranga evening sunshine.
Their early leader, Abby Carver, was still there, 5:41.
So Neve Moulay up the front there, along with Hannah Gapes.
Now we're assuming that quite a lot of these girls may also be doing the road race Sunday as well.
Yeah,
quite a
definitely.
common double.
Sunday morning, for sure. So
it'd be great for these girls to actually have a straight final so they can actually rest tomorrow, really recover before they get out on the road race. So early Sunday morning, I believe?
Yeah, so 8 a.m. To, I think, 10 p.m., 10 a.m.
That's a very long road race.
It's an ultra.
Ultra marathon.
So Penelope Salmon of Barradine coming up to the front of the race there with Neve Moulay just tucked in on her shoulder. And also Hannah Gapes on her shoulder. So it's packed at the front, but definitely stringing out behind. So the road races, they'll be run over in Otamotai down near the coast there. We won't be able to give coverage of those races, unfortunately. We're on deck, I think 9 a.m. we start on Sunday, so there'll be multiple events going on.
Yep, definitely. You can also just check out the live results as well. You'll be able to see how the road race pans out. I'm sure we'll bring the results on Sunday morning once it's finished.
Yeah, totally. And if you want to keep track of when things are happening where and keep track of the results, jump onto NZSSAA.org.nz. That's where you'll find all the results, all the timeline for the weekend, start list, all the stuff that you need to know, notes on how to progress through the rounds. Oh, a bit of traffic there. The pace just slowing up and a lot of traffic.
So I guess this is
getting a bit argy-bargy at the front.
I was going to say, this is where some of the athletes will get caught in a little bit of trouble, isn't it? When things start to really slow down at the front and the ones at the back are moving in, hitting around those bends, everyone's starting to get a bit tired.
Yeah, definitely when it gets a bit surgy like that, you can see athletes just sort of changing positions, getting frustrated because they find themselves boxed in and they have to run round, and that's definitely where it gets a bit dangerous. So it's a really interesting race because we started off not massively fast and then the pace really kicked in at about 1k, and then just 200 metres ago the brakes went on. Now the foot is on the gas again. As you can see, it's single file as we go back down to the back straight, with Hannah Gapes leading out the pack. And just behind her, as she's been well poised all race long, is Neve Moulay. And Chloe Brown just coming up on the shoulder as well. So definite pack of three at the front. And then is that Neve just slipping off the back of that pack? Bella Brown just slipping off the back of that pack.
So a bit of effort from the 5th and 6th place runners trying to get back in touch here.
But these surges definitely, if we think back to a lap ago, it was all bunched and everyone was stepping on each other. Now it's strung out with a pack of 5 running single file. So definitely these surges are just pulling apart this pack, as we've got a clear group of 5 runners.
2 laps to go.
So moving to the front now, Chloe Brown takes over the lead. In this warm sunshine, they'll have a little tailwind here that'll blow them round that bottom bend.
So I'm guessing this is where these athletes are really going to start to feel it. They've got about 700 metres to go.
Yeah, this is the hardest lap. Yeah. This is definitely the hardest lap. Once you hear that bell, something clicks inside your nervous system that just gives you a good kick up the backside, and suddenly you feel better because it's only 400 to go. But staying focused in this lap really is the tricky one.
Yeah.
So Hannah Gapes just struggling to stay on the shoulder there of Penelope Salmon in second place. But Chloe Brown running a very good last couple of laps. stringing out this pack. I'm really impressed with this run from these three girls who have managed to pull apart a massive pack. Oh, what just happened there?
So we still have Chloe Brown leading. Hannah Gates comes back into second again. Behind her,
so here we go, a reminder, this is not a prelim, this is a straight final, so this is where we'll find out our medalists for the 2020 New Zealand Track and Field 3,000 metre senior girls champs, and it's these three girls who will most likely battle it out for the medals. And Chloe Brown just doing a fantastic job of just pulling away now. Look at that kick as she opens up her stride, gets those arms pumping, nice relaxed style. You can see she's hurting, but she's still staying really composed.
Pulling away from Penelope Salmon, but this is an impressive
good control. So Hannah Gates behind her is sitting comfortable in second place at the moment, but look at this super gutsy final lap. After applying the pressure with about 1.2 Ks to go, she's just opened up a massive last lap. Great kick. Look at those arms just pumping, driving the legs. Still keeping that good heel drive, good knee lift. Look at that. True sprinter's technique coming in as she comes towards the finish line. She's going to finish in a tick over 10 minutes, but the time doesn't matter because she's your national secondary schools champion. Hannah Gates in third. Sorry, Bella Brown comes home with a really strong finish for third place. Just gutsy runs all around. Such a tactical race. The surges really made this race such a challenging one. You can see bodies going to the floor. There's some tired girls. But boy, what a run by Chloe Brown. Her teammate Isabella Richardson comes and congratulates her. And Portia Bing, you headed out for a little jog before this race, and you said it was pretty warm just going for a little jog. It must be pretty toasty on the track for these ladies.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said a little bit earlier before, it isn't the greatest conditions. It's a little bit of an illusion. It looks amazing out there. I know we have been talking all afternoon, talking it up, just saying it's so warm, weather's great. But in reality, when I got out there and ran, I'd say it's fair to say it is gusty, a little bit of crosswind, so it'll be real interesting to see with our 400 prelims coming up, how those athletes kind of tackle that top bend back straight. It's definitely, after talking to some of the guys who ran the 200 prelims a bit earlier as well, they said, their races showed that there was I think 0.8 tailwind.
Yeah, I think 0.8 up to 2 something.
Yeah, 2 something. So yeah, still quite a good tailwind on this home straight, but they said the reality was that there was such a big head crosswind that they were starting into that by the time they got to the tailwind, it was a bit
more than cancels it out.
Yeah, exactly. So it'll be a bit interesting to see how those go. But definitely for these girls who've run 3,000 metres today, massive, massive effort. I mean, no runner likes running into a headwind once. And they've just done it lap after lap after lap, so good on them.
Yeah, you can see the hurt that these girls have gone through, and Penelope Salmon just being helped off the track by her fellow competitors. Great to see. It did look like she maybe just had a few little twinges on a couple of those bends, so I hope she's okay.
Definitely a hard kind of event just on the body. I feel like it's one of those events that you just start going, you try to get your pace, you start to get comfortable, but then someone definitely puts on the burn. They pick up the speed. Just as you feel like you're getting comfortable, someone's dragging you to that next level. And I think that race today kind of showed that with the girls. They all looked really comfortable at the beginning in their packs, and then someone would pick it up, and then you could see the burn go on, and slowly they'd drop off. So pretty interesting. From a sprinter's perspective, interesting kind of tactics go on. Yeah.
I mean, it almost seemed like run steady and then do a really fast 400, and then run steady for 800 metres, another really fast 400. Really tricky way to run a 3K, and mentally it's very tough to stay in it. But yeah, what a fantastic race. We had another fantastic race with the junior final that we had earlier in the 3K as well. So it's just a taste of what's to come for the rest of the weekend, Portia. I'm super pumped with the action and what we're going to see for the rest of the weekend. So up next will be the senior girls 400 prelims. We've got 5 heats in the senior girls and then also 5 heats in the senior boys. So I believe we're about 15 minutes ahead of schedule, so that puts us at about 6:20-ish that we'll be getting underway with those 400s, but who knows, they might want to rattle it off and get an early bedtime for the volunteers, so we'll see.
Yeah, definitely, because there's a big couple of days coming here. These are just the prelims today. Oh, apart from obviously the 3K there where we saw a straight final, but for a lot of the events, these are just the prelims. So the athletes are looking to just get in, get it done, get home, start, rest up. We'll see a lot of the hard work done tomorrow. I believe a lot of the semis and quarterfinals. That's where I think a lot of the athletes will really work really hard, and we'll start to see those PBs coming through.
Handwritten results. Very close, obviously, here, because second was Charlotte Goldsmith of St Cuthbert's College in 5:52, with just 1 centimetre separating them.
So
and the winner,
junior long jump?
Yeah, junior long jump.
Diane Smith with a jump of 5 metres 61.
Yeah, so Portia, I know that there'll be a lot of athletes who are even competing this weekend who have already gone back to their accommodation and they're watching the live stream and they're thinking, you know, what do I do tonight? Do I stay up and play Xbox?
It keeps you relaxed.
At the hotel I'm staying at, there's one team, I don't know who it is. There's a clear sign that says no jumping in the pool, and it's like a big bomb fest. So good to see. End of the school year, why not? But you know, when you're doing a weekend competition like this, and you're a heptathlete, so you're the perfect person to ask. You know, what do you do in the evening? What's kind of your evening routine look like?
Yeah, one of the most important things I think is just finding whatever it is that helps you wind down. I think that's one of the big things. Winding down for some people will be playing cards, winding down for some people will be actually staying away from friends. So it's just trying to find whatever that happier medium is. Also considering that there's already a lot of hype that goes around when you're in team events and around your friends and stuff. So just being aware of how much energy that really takes away. And also just eating good food. Eat good food. I'm not saying you have to eat salads because salads aren't good food, right? You're looking at...
Well, you need carbs and protein, right?
Exactly. So like getting in there and making sure that you're really fueling for the next day, because you know that these days are really big for these athletes, really, really long days, and basically that they are resting up. You know, you're not spending your downtime running and doing other things like that. It's actually just resting up. Which is actually quite hard to do when you're an athlete. What do you do to relax? Normally, activities.
My favourite one is the old legs up the wall trick. So shuffle in close to the wall, and then, you know, especially if you've got compression tights on or something, stick your legs up the wall, and it's a great way just to get the blood flowing. You also get a nice stretch through the hammies at the same time.
Lovely Christmas party going on over there.
Yeah, that's the Bowls Club just next door. They're checking out the action just over here. So yeah, just a little bit of a break in the program before we get back into the 400s. So the 400 prelims.
You probably should be there by now.
And I'm guessing these 400s will go to semis tomorrow. I'll just confirm that. Yes, they will go to semi-finals tomorrow at 4:55 for the boys, senior boys, and 4:40 for the senior girls tomorrow. So that's Saturday. So if you want to make sure you catch those semi-finals, we have a confirmation. There's 4 heats in the senior girls. And the top 3 of each heat will progress to those semi-finals, and the next best 4 times across those 4 heats. So again, lots of pressure to get into those top 3, because there's only 4 remaining next fastest times. And looking out at the trees and the flags, that wind is definitely not going to die down for these
And I feel like we've really overpromised here. We've been talking about it all afternoon, and the wind will die down in the afternoon, but it actually seems to always be picking up. I keep looking at the other side of the track where the long jumpers and see little mini tornadoes picking up under those trees.
Yeah, the sand and the dust just getting whipped up. But I can't complain because this time last year it was howling and raining in Wellington. So it's good to have the sun out. It's, by Wellington standards, it's just a breeze. Nothing. So it's good to have your company here on the coverage, the Sky Sport Next coverage of the New Zealand Secondary Schools Track and Field Champs, which I think is the 48th edition of this famous competition. It's the highlight for so many athletes every year, and certainly for those in year 12, year 13, it's the pinnacle of their secondary school career. You've found a love for the sport, and then you've worked your backside off to get the absolute most out of yourself, and this is the chance to put it all out there and lay your heart out on the track. So it's amazing opportunity for these athletes to round off what's been a pretty challenging year.
And I'm just having a look at what's coming up ahead, and we do have the 400 senior women's prelims coming up. I've just been having a little look at what the record is. So the record for the 400 women's is 54.92, and it's actually been standing since 1989. But interestingly enough, there are two athletes which seed time is quicker than the national record. So fingers crossed we'll see some really good racing out there for the 400s this weekend. Really great to see. I'd love to see that record go.
Absolutely.
It's a pretty old record.
Speaking of records, Portia Bing, national 400 metre hurdler representative, but I'm just also looking at the senior record of 51.6 held by Kim Robertson from back in 1980. Man, that record needs to go down. What do you reckon? Is that going to be a little 51. Extra little challenge for you this this summer?
Yeah, I have
51.60.
To be fair, I don't think I've really given the 400 a full shot before, you know.
Yeah.
It's always, the hurdles have always got in the way.
Well, what's your best for the 400 hurdles, so?
Oh, this is something I should know. 50, 55, maybe 55 and a half-ish.
Yeah. And what's your best for flat, 400 flat?
Oh, low 53.
Okay.
So, very, very precise there, you know.
Yeah,
I know exactly.
I love it that you can just rattle off all your
times. I can rattle off other people's times and all the distances and everything, but I don't know what I do myself.
I just run fast when the gun goes.
Yeah, exactly.
And then stop when they tell me to stop.
And I guess you get to that point as well, is that you get to a point where you just start to think about, well, you're going to try to get there eventually, but you realise that you get to a point in your life where you just can't get faster without actually changing things. So you start going to races, and instead of thinking about, I want to break a record, you start to go and you're like, okay, I just really want to run really well in this first 50 metres and execute what I've been practicing.
Yeah, cool.
So I guess that
so you break it down into its component parts and attack each one.
Just forget about the times and can't recall my own stats.
The definition of the process-orientated athlete, I love it. It's the way we should be. Get the processes right and the outcomes sort themselves out. So, as you can see, we've got women lining up here, getting their blocks sorted, going through their start practices. This is going to be very exciting. So last year, in the same event down in Wellington, we had Cameron Smart take it out in 56.4. Fantastic time in the windy conditions, and Holly Rule in second, Annalise Karma in third, and Taylor Brunger, who I just saw on screen before, she came in just missing out on the medals last year in fourth place. So let's go through the start list for this Heat 1. We've got Charlotte Baker in lane 1 from Whanganui High School, Pippa Plummer from Kristen School in lane 2, Lucy Elliott will be in lane 3 from New Plymouth, Ava Young in lane 4 from Craighead Dio, Taylor Brunger from Te Aho o Te Kura in lane 5, Kate Davies from Villa Maria in lane 6, in lane 7 Harriet Whitfield from Wellington, and Sophie Miller in lane 8 from Otago Girls High School.
So lane 5, Taylor Brunger, she has a seat time of 54.65, so one to watch out for. Her seat time is actually below that national secondary schools record of 54.92, so it'll be interesting to see how she takes today. And like we said, it's a little bit windy out there, so it'll be interesting to see if she's just going to go out for it or is she going to try hold back. And there's a little bit of an unsteady start there. We've seen a few of those today. We've seen a couple in the one false start in the 200 and a couple restarts as well.
So just missing one athlete. Is that in lane 7? So Harriet Whitfield. Hope you're all right, Harriet, wherever you are. And nice, cleanly away in the first heat of the senior girls 400 metres. Heat 1 of 4. A reminder that the top 3 will go through automatically, and then the next 4 fastest times. And speaking of fastest times, look at that start by Taylor Brunger. She's run a blazing first 150. Even without the staggers, she's already opened up 10, 12 metres on the rest of the pack. So let's see how that goes as she comes in with some heavy legs into that headwind. You can see there just that stride, having to battle into the headwind on that top straight. Once she comes round, she should get a little bit of a tailwind. So this is where she can see the finish line and cruise on. She'll easily take the win, but it's going to be a fantastic time too. She's coming along, just easing up a little bit behind her in lane 2. Pippa Plummer is looking strong, and Lucy Elliott as well in lane 3. Wow, Taylor Brunger.
Yeah,
what about that fast start?
Yeah, so it's really interesting. She went in for a really hard start. You know, she obviously had a game plan in mind. She went out, she set the pace for the first 200. She thought, you know what, I don't care if there's a headwind, and just went for it. And I think it really set her up to be able to just cruise home, which some athletes just really like to do. You know, she just found a really nice pace. And you can see one of the interesting things is actually going into the back straight, she didn't break her stride. She didn't look like she was struggling. She was almost just accepting the headwind and just working with it. And that's kind of a sign of a really, really great 400 metre runner, is when they can just accept the conditions as they are and keep moving through.
Absolutely. So
Taylor's time was in fact bang on a minute, 1:00.13. Pippa Plummer was 1:01.82. Lucy Elliott,
so I was hearing the results come through there, and I believe it was a minute flat.
Yeah, bang on a minute with a bit of an ease up at the end. So in lane 1 will be Madeline Herbert from Napier Girls, then Giselle Howard of John Paul College, Lola Wood of Diocesan, I'm not sure which diocesan, but anyway, I will pick up those, and then Scarlett Norman from Mount Aspiring, Maya Powell from Linfield College, Lucy Villanoa from Waikato Dio, Isabel Allen from St. Cuths, and Christy Solomon from Sacred Heart. So heat 2 of 4 is away. Reminder, top 3 is what we're after to progress to the semi-finals tomorrow afternoon. And those 4 on screen there are off to a very quick start. The 3 in behind are very close to each other, but it looks like those 4 on the outer lanes will make the early running of things anyway.
Definitely, and coming into this headwind across this top straight, so this is, we're going to see, as you can see, the legs are getting a bit heavy, the fatigue just starts to hit, and this is where it really starts to hurt for a lot of these athletes. 150 metres to go is a long way in a 400 when the lactic's really there, and you've got a headwind. So
Maya Powell looks like she's just in the lead as she comes into that home straight. On the outside of her is Isabel Allen, and you can see the legs are getting tired. But it looks like that'll be our top 3. On the outside, Christy Solomon's looking good. She'll come through for that 3rd automatic qualifier. And then watching the clock for those at home, keeping track of your friends and family members. All the others coming through, somewhere between 61 and 68 seconds. So, yeah, like you say, it seems like as you've got that tailwind at the start, you can get out of the blocks nice and quick, and then probably run a reasonably solid back straight, but when you hit that top bend, that is looking mighty painful.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's where a lot of athletes generally start to feel the fatigue come in there. But the thing that I'm actually really enjoying that we're seeing in these heats is that none of the girls are actually afraid to run into that wind. We're not seeing anyone hold back. You know, you see your classic hold back and then sprint home. We're actually not seeing that in these heats. We're seeing people go out hard in the first 200, and those are that kind of style of running is actually what sets you up to get PBs.
Cool.
As if you just go out hard and getting. It's a little bit of a mind challenge, I think, more than anything, to go in knowing that it's going to hurt a lot. But
This event's definitely not for the faint of heart, that's for sure. So this heat will include Sophie Gill of Villa Maria, Jessica Vogel of Craighead Dio, Emma McCusker of Rangiruru, Renee Tears of Whanganui High School, Holly Rule of Whangarei Girls, Caitlin O'Donnell of Otago Girls, Alicia O'Connor of Hillcrest High, Paige Cromati of Whanganui Girls College.
this is heat 3 or 4 of the senior women's 400s. So we're looking for the fastest 3 and then the next 4 best times.
Yep, exactly. So yeah, you really do want to try and nab one of those top 3 spots, don't you? It's pretty bit of a gamble to rely on one of those fastest times. So definitely, as you come into that home straight, you'll want to be picking off anyone who's in front of you. Get as far up the field as you possibly can as we kick off into the third heat. So Holly Rule looks like she's got off to a very good start, wearing number 12, 8-7 there in the middle of the track. So running nice and strong, but all 4 of these girls look like they've run a good strong first bend and first back straight. So Alicia O'Connor looking strong as well on the outside in lane 7 as they hit that wind, and again just the cadence drops, the heads drop a little bit, struggling to get that knee drive, that knee lift up. So really need to dig into those reserves that you've been training for all season long. So on the inside running a good final 100, Jessica Vogel as well, but it looks like Holly Rule will take it. Alicia O'Connor's looking like she'll get second place, in third Jessica Vogel, and then coming through for a close fourth was Sophie Gill.
Again, coming through in about the 61 seconds. So we're seeing quite consistent times across the line. So I think most of the girls are really looking to try to save those reserves. But one of the interesting things that my coach always says is that it doesn't matter how fast you run a 400. I could go out and run a minute. I could go out and run the national record of 51. It's still going to hurt. And I think a lot of these girls as well, that'll be the thing. Like, that's why I think we're seeing them going out. They're kind of being able to practice their race technique and tactics, and knowing that they are going to get lactic regardless of if they run a minute or if they run the 54 that the national record. So it is one of those events that, like I said, it doesn't matter what happens, it's always going to be painful. And
I find a little bit of exposure to some pain in a running race prepares you for the next one coming. Like if you just do a fresh race,
100%,
it can be really hard to put yourself in that mindset of going to that place where you know it's going to hurt. But when you've gone there, it's like, actually it wasn't that bad. It was a minute of pretty painfulness, but I recovered quick.
Yeah,
I've trained for that moment, and I can do it. I can do it again.
Yeah, definitely, and that's one of the things that, like, the beauties of having events like this where you actually get rounds. It's like just the same thing that we see in the 200. It's just that punch out, get the neural fatigue. Same thing with the 400s, get the blood pumping, get a little bit of lactic going to just kind of prep your body for what's to come.
Yeah.
Whereas you just have to go and run PB off the spot. It's still possible, but there's just something nice about building into that, and kind of mentally building into that as well, knowing that you've got a really big race to come at the end of it, but you've slowly ticked those boxes. You're like, okay, I can work through the fatigue, I can work through in headwinds, I've run now with a lot of people in a race and all those types of boxes. So yeah, there's definitely some benefits to running multiple rounds.
Absolutely. And often there is that kind of pressure when you turn up to a track like this and everyone looks so fit and sporty, and you kind of question...
Everyone's got the gear.
Yeah, everyone's got those new Nikes or any fancy new shoes. And you sort of question your own training and your own, your ability to trust the process. And once you get going, it's like, oh yeah, that's right. You remember what you did
Exactly.
3-4 times a week down at the track in all sorts of weather. Okay, here's our final heat of the senior girls 400 metres. So we've got Millie Tish on the inside from Otomotai, Jordan Evans Tobata from Otago Girls, Annie Tucker from Takapuna Grammar, Annalise Kama from St. Peter's will run in lane 4, Lily Rayner in lane 5 from Rangiruru, Fia Kajula from Motueka, Amy Walker from Wellington East, and Bianca Gugic from St. Mary's. Let's see how this one unfolds. Definitely eyes on the middle of the track. Number 871, Annalise Colmer, has run a very strong bend, but also on the outside of her. Who's that running out there? Is that Amy Walker, I want to say? But as we come into that bend, yeah, that's Amy Walker on the outside. Annalise Colmer is definitely set the pace for this one, nice and strong. She's coming into that headwind now, that pinch point that we've talked about all afternoon, but she's looking nice and strong, nice compact running style, looking to her left, looking to her right, just checking she's all good, realizing, okay, I can save a little bit of energy here. Don't save too much, you want to still keep your lane draw, but she's going to take the win. On the outside of her, Amy Walker, and just inside of her was Anna Tucker, was that in third place from Takapuna. So there we go. You take a deep breath and you can smell the lactate. Or is that just the sweaty armpit smell? We're in this happening in this little box. We're in this little box and it's got a tin roof at the top of the grandstands and it's toasty. And I've been out for a run. Yeah. Yeah, Portia decided, well, I may as well go for a run in the break because, look, I'm not as smelly as the boys, so... And I've come back and I'm regretting it a little bit. But I thought, you know what? When I walked in before, it did smell like a lot of teenage boys, so can't be worse than that, but getting whiffs of hard work in here, right? It's the smell of success. All right, we're coming up to senior men's 400 heats as well. Yeah, so we've got 5 heats in the 400s, the prelims for the 400s. So again, they'll go to the semi-finals tomorrow evening at around about 5 p.m.-ish. So here's heat 1. We've got Flynn Marshall on the inside from Orewa, Ethan Johnson from Hamilton Boys, Troy Middleton from Mount Albert Grammar, Liam Hill from Burnside High School, Lex Revel Lewis from Avondale College, Jacob Morehouse from Whanganui High School, and Charles Royal from Lindisfarne College. Yeah, and just having a look back at the national record for the senior men's 400. And this is the championship record for New Zealand secondary schools? New Zealand secondary schools. It's 46.67. Bailey Stewart in 2014. That's moving. We saw... do you remember the 400 metres from last year where Shay Veach ran an absolutely incredible 70? I've got a 47.52 here in windy conditions. I remember that well, just edging out John Gerber. That was a fantastic race, and I'm sure we'll see more of this on Sunday as well. Once we get all these athletes suitably tired to lay it out for a massive 400 on Sunday for the finals. Definitely, there will be... hopefully there'll be some buckets and hoses trackside. We did see a little bit of carnage and a few lunches trackside last time. So. Gotta love it. Gotta keep a bucket nearby. I don't think those athletes want to hear that just before they're about to start a 400. Absolutely. I did chat to one of these 400 athletes, and they were saying that they kind of mistimed their meals, and so they were a bit worried that they had a bit too much food in their gut for the race time, which has been brought forward slightly earlier than scheduled. It'd be really interesting to see as well, because it's been brought forward slightly earlier. It'll be interesting to see if it's actually kind of affected some of these athletes, so they feel a bit panicked coming into this heat where they thought they had an extra 30 minutes up their sleeve where they could just relax. I did see a few of them kind of frantically with their bags running to the warm-up area a bit earlier on. So, and that's probably a good note if you've got friends and family who want to be watching these senior boys 400s. Just flick them a note and make sure they're tuned in. because it is a little bit earlier than the scheduled, what we had on the plan. All right, so we're away with the first heat of 5. Top 3 will go through, and then the next 9 best times will go through. So a few more chances to go through with a few more semi-finals positions up for grabs. Now on the outside is that Lex Revel Lewis, looking pretty strong. So Lex has run a good first 300. Just on the outside of him is Charles Royal, looking nice and strong, wearing number 400. And then on the inside, needs to pay attention to what lane he's running in.
Nearly had a little trip out of his lane there, too busy having a look
Loves
to see where he is.
So Flynn Marshall's on the outside. It's going to be close. Oh, very, very close. Fantastic running. That third place, I think we're going to have to see a replay to see who came through. But Lex Revel Lewis out of Avondale was the clear winner.
So we are looking for the top 3, and we're taking the next 9 best times.
So have a look at this. So Flynn Marshall just looking over to his right, making sure he's got a spot in the final. But what he didn't realise was the other guys were moving pretty well. So Flynn Marshall, Troy Middleton, Charles Royal, all blanket finishing for one of or 2 of those places. Let's have a look. I think Flynn just managed to hang on there in lane 2.
All those girls 400 metre races, both junior and senior. We had 7 athletes who recorded a time of 1.00 something.
As the sun comes back out here in Tauranga, the sunny Bay of Plenty. Fantastic to be up this end of the island, this end of the country for the Nationals. And fantastic to have a good forecast of weather in store. So we're pretty much expecting sunshine, just little bits of cloud here and there all weekend long. Great for some summer athletics. Right, heat number 2. We have John McLean from St. Peter's School, Raymond O'Rourke from Napier Boys High, Bryn Stevens from Motueka, Thomas Lesky from Rathgill, Liam Wilcox from St. Patrick's, John Wells from Christ College, Jaden Gilchrist from Onslow College, Matthew Clark from Lincoln High School. The full complement of 8 runners in all 8 lanes. It looks like we may be missing Raymond O'Rourke. I can't quite see him. No, he's just making his way back to the start line.
So all eyes kind of on lane 6. John Wells at the moment, he's ranked 5th in our seed times this year with a time of 51.24. So he'll definitely be looking to make that final and edge into the medal spots in 2 days' time.
So, Portia, we can see these athletes kind of going through their starts, and maybe we'll pick up this conversation shortly. But it'd be good to hear from you, kind of as a 400 hurdler, how you go through getting your block set up, how you go through your starts, what sort of starts you'd practice. So after this one, let's dive deep into that conversation and give some tips for those watching. Here we go, heat number 2 of 5. Remember, top 3 go through, and then the next top 9 times. So even if you're outside of that top 3, you've got to keep your foot to the floor in that final 200. Talking about foot to the floor, John Wells out there in lane 6 wearing number 140, wearing the black and white of Christ College. He's got off to a good strong start. Just inside of him is your St. Patrick's runner, number 831, Liam Wilcox, also looking nice and strong. And further inside is that the Napier Boys or Motueka coming through nice and strong. So Bryn Stevens, from Motueka coming through in lane 3, looking good. But what a great start by John Wells. He just has a look around, cruises through the last 50 metres, and it's going to be an interesting battle for that. The last auto qualifier looks like it's just been Raymond O'Rourke from Napier Boys High School sneaking through for that final auto qualifier. And again, there's 9 next best times, so slightly easier to progress in the senior boys than the senior girls, just as a result of having more semi-finals to choose from.
I just did actually hear of the loudspeaker that 7 of the senior girls ran a minute. So so everyone was very consistent across the board. We do know that there was quite a few athletes there that would have been holding back a bit, just to try to conserve a bit of energy, but consistently that looks like it's going to pan out to be quite an exciting race. And like I said, with the senior women's semi-final and final, there are 2 women there who have already clocked under the national record, so some good things to come in the coming days.
Totally. So here we go to heat number 3. We've got Kieran Pym of Napier Boys, Matthew Durant of Christ College, Taylor Smith of Tauranga Boys, Thomas Stobe of Rangatoto, Keel Paddy of Auckland Grammar, Durkee Botha from Palmerston North, Finn O'Sullivan from Christchurch Boys, and Apasalomi Sika Doka out of Timaru Boys High School. So let's talk about how to set up for these starts, Portia. What's your process of getting everything sorted?
Yeah, one of the interesting things that I was having a bit of think about that today. You know, what would you do if you're an athlete? You come to a track, where do you warm up? What do you do? And that's always the hardest thing, because every track is different. In New Zealand, we don't have the benefit of having stadiums which have 2 tracks, which in Australia and overseas, often you'll have multiple tracks. So you can go actually warm up properly on a track, set up your blocks and do whatever you need to do. But for our athletes here today, they need to get out on the field, do their warm-ups, try to get a bit of speed, but just make sure that when they're given those 2 or 3 practice starts, or they're given 5 minutes before their race, that they're actually getting in there straight away, setting up the blocks and using the time effectively, and doing a stride out long enough to get you puffed, but not so long that you're actually fatigued before you get to the start, like when you have to come back to the start. That's always a little bit of a key tip.
All right, so lane 1, Pym, Durant, Smith, Stobe, Paddy, both O'Sullivan and Sikaidoka. Here we go. Getting out nice and strong. So good, strong finish, strong start, from those 4 athletes in the picture that you can see on the outside of the track. Possibly having the running of them at the moment is Dirk Botha from Palmerston North in the white, and maybe just inside of him, Keel Paddy. So it is Dirk Botha looking nice and strong. Keel Paddy of Auckland Grammar standing up tall as well and motoring into this final. But on the inside, Kieran Pym, haven't even mentioned him, very solid last 200 metres. He's going to come through, take the win. Matthew Durant in lane 2 is going to claim the last of the auto qualifiers. But fantastic finish there from Kieran Pym. I didn't even mention his name. Maybe I was looking in the wrong part of the track.
He just really snuck through. He came home really well. Just turned it on when he needed to. He just worked just enough the whole way down the back straight. Just stuck with him. Didn't bother kind of using too much energy. But also a little bit of a shout out to Keel, because that's this is his first secondary school nationals.
Yep.
I think this is about the 3rd 400 flat he's ever run.
Wow.
Yeah, so an awesome athlete. A massive step up to get through the first round, just your first big event, and you've only run a couple 400.
Amazing.
So yeah, amazing. Good work, guys.
So some solid running, as we've talked about a lot. You get a little tailwind in this 400, and then hit a bit of a headwind on the back straight, but then it really hits you as you hit that top bend. And you see a lot of athletes really doing it tough into that top bend, and then it gets a little bit easier on the end of the back straight and into the home straight. So okay, let's run through.
In second place, representing Southland College,
And
Kennedy Taylor, 10 minutes 13.56.
So we had a really exciting race in the junior girls 3,000 metres, and here's the medalists, with the medals being handed out by local coaching legend Craig Kirkwood. All right, so let me run through the start list for heat number 4 of 5 of the senior boys 400 metres. So we've got Greg Austin from Palmy Boys, Shay Tindley Welch from Te Awamutu, Tom Sullivan from John McGlashan, Archie Hargrave from Napier Boys, Ryan Baylor from Whanganui High School, Finn McLaughlin from Burnside High School, Kai Makeljohn from Hamilton Boys, and Edward Chatter from Auckland Grammar. And away cleanly in this fourth heat of
False
5.
start here.
False start.
Let's see what happened there. I didn't see any movement.
No, neither did I.
This is a replay of what happened just earlier.
Oh. Looks like they're going to get a yellow card just for an unsteady start across the board. We have seen a couple of those. So
Yeah, often just those nerves, eh? First race of the weekend. Is it going to be red?
Red.
Oh, that's a really disappointing way to start the weekend. So that was our athlete in lane 5. So Ryan Baylor, I believe, is no longer in the mix for this senior men's 400. Heat 4 of 5. Take 2. Here we go. And this time they're away cleanly, as they use that tailwind to get up to speed around this bend. We've seen a lot of the 400-metre athletes running very hard first bends and then coming very strong onto this back straight before they hit that wind. So looking nice and even with these probably 4 athletes taking the early running of things. Looking nice and strong on the inside. Is that Shay Tinley Welch?
Just starting to creep up there.
Yeah,
All the
Tom
way along.
Sullivan, sorry.
I think it's outside him. Archie Hargrave from Napier Boys.
So yeah, Tom Sullivan looking nice and strong just outside of him. Archie Hargrave, Napier Boys, and then right on the outside, Edward Cheta has run a fantastic race on the outside, but it is going to be Tom Sullivan, Archie Hargraves, Edward Cheta. They are going to go through as your auto qualifiers, and we'll have to wait and see who of the 9 next fastest will be to make it through to the semi-finals tomorrow evening. Now we have one more heat of these 400 metres to go. So Portia, I wanted to ask you as well, like we've seen a lot of these guys and girls get out nice and quick on that first bend. What are you sort of going through as you're getting up to speed? I mean, it's not as important in a 400 metres to accelerate out of the blocks in that acceleration phase, but you know, what's sort of going through your mind to make sure that you make the most of getting out of the blocks cleanly and then those first few strides?
Yeah, I think we talked about a little bit before that. One of the big things that if these athletes, if you want to get a PB, if you want to run really well and get a really good time, you actually have got to go quite hard from the get-go.
Yeah.
The biggest illusion, I think, is that if you hold back, you can run home faster and it feels easier.
Yeah.
But the reality is that you actually genuinely run out of track.
Yeah.
So if you get to the finish line and you're still running, you'll run out of track. So there's not enough track. So you actually do want to get out and you want to accelerate straight into the pace that you want to do. You want to use, I guess, the first 50 metres to, you know, get the momentum going. It's free energy. Actually use it. There's no point in just crawling out of the blocks. And from experience, it's very much what I've done. I've done it a lot in hurdles before as well, where you just start so slow, but you don't end up any better off, and that's not really how you can improve. Well, from my perspective, that's not how I was able to improve times. That's kind of how you plateau. So yeah, definitely you do want to using that start. Maybe not the same as a 100-metre sprinter. I mean, we're not going to see them coming out as powerful as Eddie does, but
yeah,
coming blasting out.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why you're in blocks, isn't it? So you're maximising that start and making sure that you're not mucking around it. And the 400 metre, it's still a sprint. It's not considered a tactical middle distance race. But here we go. I've got to run through the start list. So Daniel Taylor from Whanganui Collegiate, James Robertson, King's College, Ethan McKenzie, Hutt International, Ethan DeToit from St Patrick's, Aidan Porritt from Palmerston North, Joshua Dupria from Kitty High School, and Cameron Mantle from St Bede's. Now, James Robertson in the purple there of Kings has run a fantastic first 250 or so, but there's 3 guys looking like they're lining up to try and get their hands on one of those auto qualifiers. But here's James Robertson. Both of us know James really well, looking very strong. This is his final year of high school, and he's hoping to perform very well in this event. So Aidan Porritt and Joshua Dupree come through to pick up the other auto qualifiers, but James looking nice and comfy. He's probably on paper one of the favourites with a sub 50, keeps edging those personal bests down into the, I think he's into the low 49s now.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's had an amazing pre-season building straight into the Nationals. He's been getting PBs across everything, across the 100, 200. For some reason I was going to say 300 hurdles. He doesn't do 300 hurdles, but he has been getting PBs across everything building into it. So he's in great shape. And I know he was in awesome shape last year, but he really struggled with the fact that there were so many rounds, the weather and the conditions, because we did see him last year actually get a PB in, I think, round 1 and round 2 in the 400. So this year it looks like he's actually come out and he's learned something. Well, you know, he's learned quite a bit. He looked really comfortable. You know, he almost looked like he was going for a walk. He was just cruising.
Looked good, especially over that last 150. Cool. All right, so just getting the word from the producer that we're all done for the day. What a fantastic first day of the New Zealand Secondary Schools Track and Field Champs, brought to you by skysportnext on YouTube. Of course, we will be back here at 9 a.m. Saturday morning and Sunday morning, so be sure to tune into the coverage. Be sure to tell all your friends and family where they can follow the action, and can't wait to hang out with all you guys tomorrow morning.